Hey guys, welcome to another episode of All Bass Creations Effects Tutorials, Demos, and Review. Today we're going to be going over the Aguilar preamps that are available in it's one available in the Line 6 Pod Express bass, and we're going to compare that to the Zoom MS-60B's Aguilar amp in there, where they call it the AG amp in the MS-60B. And on the Zoom B6, they have one. It's called the AG7. What's this? 750. Yep, AG750. And then we have, excuse me, we got the actual Aguilar AG preamp. Now, the ones on the Zoom aren't based on the AG preamp. They just call it AG preamp because it's short for Aguilar preamp. But they're actually based off of the DB750 or something like that. They're bigger tube amp. That's what those are based off. The one on the Line 6 Pod Express is actually based off of the Tone Hammer preamp. And of course, the AG preamp is the exact preamp from the actual Aguilar AG preamp. Bass head rather. So basically, let's get right into it. Here's my bass without any of that stuff. So that's my bass, flat. Well, not flat, but that's the basic sound we're gonna go with, just to keep it consistent with the different preamps. So let's start with the Line 6 Pod Express bass on Studio. I have this as a preset already that I altered and saved, where it's just a preamp, no other effects, no compressor, none of that stuff. And also, just a quick thing, I set all of the amps to around 3 o'clock on the bass, and to around I generally, if depending on if it's set to the low frequency, low mid frequency, I generally cut that by to maybe 11, 10:30, 11 o'clock. Or if it's the high mids, I usually boost that to around 2 o'clock. Um, as well as I have all of the highs set to around 3 o'clock as well. So all the treble knobs are set to around there as well. And if I do have a mid frequency sweep on there, it is set to around 250, 300. So, all right, here we go. Let's start with the Line 6 Pod Express Studio. So that is the studio amp on the Line 6 Pod Express bass. And, you know, this is the best part about this Line 6 pedal, the only part I really like, is the amp model. They're pretty okay. You know, you can get away with those. One thing I will stress is when I'm using amp models, I'm not actually expecting it to sound exactly like the amp is modeling. I just expect it to give me more of the characteristic of the brain. So, for instance, when I'm looking at an ampeg amps, SVTs or B15s that are on different models, I'm listening. Does it give me that ampeg sound? The same way the SGT gives me an ampeg sound, the Aguilar actual analog preamp gives, the AG preamp gives me a nice Aguilar sound. Like there's a sound to each brand, that I like. You know what I'm saying? So that's part of it. Some things they say they're transparent. They just mean it doesn't color it as much, or it might not be adding as much harmonic distortion. But every brand has a particular sound to their amps or their preamps and things like that. So with that, let's move on. So that was the Line 6. Let's get a little bit more to that real quick, and then I'm gonna move on to the MS-60B. Let's do this. This is the Line 6 again, one more time. So doesn't sound bad at all. Definitely usable. Um, Here's the MS-60B on the, and just so you guys have the actual settings real quick, the bass is set to 7. The mids are set to, let's put those, at -3. Well, no, yeah, let's put those to -3. Eh, let's set them to 0. And we're going to set this mid frequency to 800 on here. Gain is 31 and master volume is 150. None of the character deep or brighter on. And the mix is set to 0 and the cab is off. That joint's fire, actually. That is a really decent sounding preamp, especially if you're not trying to compare it to an actual one. I mean, it's really, really, it's close enough where if you let two normal people listen to it, um, they'll have a hard time distinguishing between the two, especially on a record. Like maybe by itself, yeah, because that DB, that actual amp sounds crazy in person. It just sounds just absolute monstrous power to it. So, for them to get you even where anywhere near close for something that has that's $120, that's kind of crazy. But let's hear that in the line six back to back. So this is gonna be the MS-60B. All right, line six, bass express. That was the line six. MS-60B. So and so let's move on. That kind of gives you a good range of what each unit sounds like on that setting. And here's the AG750 on the Zoom B6 over here. Doo-doo-doo. So that's the Zoom B6 one. And my settings are 84 for the bass. Mid is set to 50. So I just kept that one at noon. Um, I'll cut it to 34 just so you guys can hear that next. But I had it set to 50 there. And the treble is set to 84. And the gain is set to 21. No bright, no deep. Um, and volume is set to 72. So let's hear that with the mids cut to 34. As you can see, that's a very nice sounding. That's a very nice sounding preamp right there. You can literally take that and an IR and you can roll to a gig with it. That's why I love the Zoom B6 because the amp models on that joint and the IRs together is fire. And the compressors are good. You got plenty of good compressors on there, multiple of them. Not just one, and they're all everything is bass specific. It's specific versus a lot of times the Helix and Line 6 stuff is more guitar based and it's just they're hoping that you can get some bass use out of it. It doesn't have the same bottom and fullness that an actual bass effect, like something built for bass, has. Like the Zoom B6 has, it has a nice clarity to it. You know, it sounds like the amp. You know, not to mention I can turn on a deep and bright. I'll do that real quick on there. So, of course, if you're going to use the deep and bright, you want to bring the volume down. I didn't there. Sorry about that. But you would bring, just cut the volume by like 20%. So from 72 down to like 50, something like that. But yeah, so that is the Zoom B6 AG 750. And here is the AG preamp. Let's go. The actual Aguilar AG preamp. So, one thing I forgot to turn off, guys, I did have, I'll tell you, I had on my TC Electronic Spectra Comp compressor pedal, so I'm going to turn that off real quick. And I'm actually going, because I'm gonna do a quick comparison between these so you can hear them back to back to back, right? So you guys can hear all the differences a little quicker, a little easier. And then I'm going to run them through some compressor and an IR. Then I'm going to run them through a compressor and then run them through an actual Fender Bassman 115 Neo cabinet and use them as a preamp. So you're going to get to hear them in a good amount of situations, and you can really make a good determination, not just if you're hearing it direct into the system. You're going to hear it with a compressor on it. You're going to hear everything you kind of need for a gig. So here we go. I'm going to play the Aguilar AG preamp. And this time, everything is going to be without the TC Electronic Spectra Comp. Here we go. So as you can hear there, that is a fire preamp. That AG preamp is fire. It has a nice warm tone to it. Without it, uh, with it, oh, that's fire. That joint's so warm, boy. That thing will start a fire right there. That thing keep you warm at night. That thing's so warm. Let's go. All right. So just so we got a quick reference between all the preamps. There's four of them again. So we're gonna start with the line 6. I'm gonna play a little line. I'm gonna keep the line the same so you guys can hear exactly what they sound like back to back, and you can, make a determination. So here is the line 6 Pod Express bass on studio, which is the Aguilar tone hammer emulation. Okay, and here is the MS-60B. All right, I'm gonna keep the line similar-ish. How about that? Here we go. Now the Zoom B6. All right, and the actual Aguilar AG preamp, analog preamp. So just pure fire. You can use any of those. Of course, my personal favorite is going to be the actual analog preamp. It just sounds so good. I know everybody can't. It's not in everybody's budget. But if it's in your budget and you want the Aguilar sound, grab that AG preamp. That thing is fire, especially running in the in ears, as you can hear. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're using your headphones, it's fire. But now let's jump back to the Line 6 Pod Express. I don't personally like the cab models on there, so and I want to keep this demo even. I'm trying not to just be out here bashing this Pod Express bass pedal, but if you follow my stuff, you already know I don't like it. So I don't need to keep reiterating that, but don't buy nothing because don't go buy it because you see me doing reviews on it. Like, I'm doing reviews on it so you can see the good aspects of it as much as possible, because I killed this joint in the review, and I stand by that too, bro. So don't think I'm backing down off of that. But, I don't know them folks, and I ain't into trying to kill nobody's bread. I ain't trying to kill nobody's pockets, but I don't want my folks thinking that that's, because I did a review on it, that I'm recommending it, because I am not recommending this pedal. This Line 6 bass Line 6 Pod Express bass. I'm not recommending it at all. So I am going to turn on the tone hammer emulation on there. It's under studio. And then matter of fact, let's get it. I want y'all to hear this compressor and IR together first. So I'm using the 160 compressor on the B6, and the threshold is set to -5. The ratio is set to 2.1, and the knee is set to hard, and the volume is set to 74. Then I have a Aguilar 410 with a tweeter IR running, impulse response. And I have the low set to 62, the high set to 82, the balance set to -13, and the volume set to -3.3. All right, and here's just that in my bass. Just the compressor in my bass. The compressor IR in my bass, rather. All right, now we're going to add the Line 6 Pod Express bass on studio amp. So that sounds great together. That sounds great together. So that was the Line 6 Pod Express bass used as the preamp right there for with the um, Aguilar IR and on the Zoom B6 and the 160 compressor on the Zoom B6. Another reason I'm doing that is so I can keep that compressor and the IR the same, and I could just switch through the preamps of everything because everything runs into my Zoom B6 as the last thing to finish off my sound. Usually because I'm using it as a virtual amp, type thing when I'm gigging, especially running to the PA, and I use it as like a almost like a mixer too, because I use the send, and so I can mix the send going to my amp, and I can mix the dry signal how much I'm going sending to the house and things like that. But yeah, all right. So here's the MS-60B. Great. So MS-60B. Now the actual AG 750 preamp on the Zoom B6. So this is in my complete Zoom B6. I call it my full Aguilar, full Agu rig. You know, can't type. It doesn't give you the option to name the preset super long, but I just, I got it's pretty much my full Aguilar virtual amp in my Zoom B6. So here we go. So as you can hear, very nice, clean, very nice, clean setup. Especially that bottom is nice and tight. And of course, the best results you'll get is mixing the analog and digital stuff. So if you're gonna use like IRs, the best option is to have a analog preamp like the Aguilar AG pre. If you got the extra space and you don't mind having it, you got the extra space in your budget as well. You know what I'm saying? Check that out. Here we go. This is the AG preamp running to the 160 comp and on the Zoom B6 along with the IR of the AG 410 with a tweeter. Killer results right there. Like nobody's gonna complain if you send that to them. Oh, record me some bass tracks, and you send that to them. They be like, yo. That's a nice clean. It's got a nice tight bottom to it, and it's just so warm. But okay, all right. So now the last thing we're gonna do here is we're gonna run. Well, we're gonna no, we're not gonna move to the last thing yet. We're gonna do all of these back to back real quick, running through the 160 compressor and which is a DBX 160 I believe compressor. It was like a rack unit. This is like emulation of that on the Zoom B6 along with the IR. It's a pretty much a sonic representation of a cabinet in a room with the particular mics. It's supposed to be mic'd up with a RE20 and a SM57 on that cabinet. So all right. Now let's do them all back to back. All right, we're gonna start with the line 6. Then we're gonna go to the MS-60B, B6, and then the AG preamp. Here we go. Line 6. I'm gonna do a different song because I don't remember. That's a Yellow Jackets too. I don't know why I thought of that just now, but I haven't played it in so long. I gotta remember it. But yeah. All right, here we go. Same thing. Line 6. Going to the MS-60B. All right. Going to the Zoom B6 AG750. Going to the AG Preamp. So, you got a quick comparison of them all back to back running through that 160 and the IR. So you can make a decision from there, or you can get what you can afford now and upgrade later. Um, the Zoom B, what is it? The B2 something. The smaller version of the B6 also has a lot of these IRs on there as well. So if you wanted to get the smaller Zoom unit and like the AG preamp, that could work too. You know what I'm saying? Um, the one on the Line 6 doesn't sound bad at all. It doesn't sound bad. The amp models on there actually sound pretty decent. They do have some good clarity to them. They are hard to get to sound good because of the lack of control you have over everything. It's just that's the only thing that has real parameters to it on this is the amp. So that's why I think I like him decently on the line 6 pod express bass, but I can't control the input gain, whether it's a active bass or passive bass, and it seems to be a little too hot for a bass. Mine is super active, so super active. Mine's 18 volt. Ain't even a 9 volt. It's an 18 volt system, so it definitely will push out some weight to it. So, all right. Now we're going to run them through the Fender Bassman Neo, and I'm using that's a 115 cabinet with a tweeter. I'm using a Harkey TX600 TX600 bass head as the power amp. I'm running straight into the power amp, and I'm not using any of the preamp there. And I am running a CAD D10 kick mic, a little cheap kick mic. You can get those for what, $30-$40 on Amazon, so they're not even expensive. If you need a little cheap bass cabinet mic. And I'm also going to give it to you through a Zoom H5 with the dual stereo XY configuration mics, condenser mics rather. The Zoom units do sound really good. Zoom stuff sounds great. I use Zoom audio interface, Zoom effects. I got an L12. Zoom kind of be killing the game. Zoom need to holler at me. That's what y'all need to do. Let me do some stuff with y'all. I work with y'all. What we doing? What we doing, Zoom? Holler at me. Don't do me like that. All right, here we go. So let's turn this off. And let's do this. We'll do all of them running through the CAD D10 kick mic first. All right. So here's the line 6. So that's the line 6 used as a preamp for amp. That's the tone hammer emulation in there. Here's the MS-60B DB750 emulation. So that is the MS-60B um, AG amp, which is a DB750 emulation. And here is the Zoom B6 AG750, which is the same emulation but upgraded. So yeah, that definitely works too. And quick tip, I usually have my amp if I'm using this as my as my preamp, the Zoom B6, I'll have it like the amp model there first. So I got a volume pedal on, but I also I'll have the amp model, then the compressor, or I can swap those. Either way, I like it. I might have the compressor running into the amp model. Either way. But then I'll have a send or an effects loop, usually just a send because I use it as a sub out. So I can have like two different outputs. And send that to my amp from there. And then the signal will go pass through and go through the IR. And then out of the main outs, I'll have the IR going through the XLR to the house, and have this as my DI box as well that has my cabinet, my amp and my compressor and my cabinet on there. So all my tone coming directly to the house and don't have the IR running to my actual cabinet. All right. So and now the actual AG preamp. Let's go. So that's the actual AG preamp. Sounds real sweet with that cabinet. That Aguilar AG pre with that Fender Bassman 115 Neo is crazy. It sounds so good, especially for jazz stuff. nice, real nice sound out of it. So let's just cycle through those real quick, and I'm gonna go through them real quick like we've been doing. Line 6, MS-60B, and then B6, and then AG preamp. So line 6. MS-60B. All right. Zoom B6. All right. And the AG preamp. Actual Aguilar analog AG preamp. So that's that. All right. So last example I'm gonna give you is, let's turn that mic off and turn this zoom turn the zoom mic on, and we're gonna cycle back through everything, do the same thing. Line 6, same order. All right, here we go. Line 6. All right. MS-60B. Yep, MS-60B. Now we're doing Zoom B6. And the AG preamp. And just so we got them back to back. All right, line 6. MS-60B. All right, B6. And the Aguilar preamp. So yeah, guys. So basically, that's just a quick comparison between the Line 6 Pod Express bass Aguilar preamp they have in there, and some of the Zoom, a couple Zoom ones, older one and a newer one, as well as the actual newer Aguilar AG preamp. You know, I wish I had a tone hammer to compare the Line 6 one exactly to it, but I don't. I didn't really care for the tone hammer like that, like because I already have a OP3 Aguilar preamp in my bass. So I really, technically the tone hammer is based off of that preamp, so it's kind of redundant to have it. So I went with the AG preamp instead. But yeah, let me know in the comments which one is you guys' favorite. Let me turn this off because it's getting that double trouble. Let me know in the comments which ones is you guys' favorite. Um, do you prefer the analog compared to a few of the digital versions? Did you like the Pod one the best, or did you like the MS-60B, or the B6, or the actual? Which combination of things did you prefer? And as well as guys, keep in mind that all these sounds can be used for different things. Like whether you think it's exactly an Aguilar sound or not, all of these preamps definitely sound good enough for you to use live or in the studio session that without breaking your pocket, especially the you know if I'm honest, if you're gonna go, if you're looking at the Line 6 versus the Pod Express versus the MS-60B, definitely go for the MS-60B. Um, I'm trying to. They haven't told us when the new one's coming out, but the new one's gonna actually have IRs on it too, so that's kind of crazy. But yeah, definitely. I'm gonna be doing a few more of these videos because I'm gonna do a Galley and Kruger one too, because the MS-60B has a Galley and Kruger, and so does the Line 6, and it's supposed to be of the same exact amp, so you get to compare those as well as check out the one I did for the Line 6 for the same comparisons for the SVT models and the B15 models. So we're doing ampeg, two of the ampeg models, Aguilar and Galley and Kruger. And we'll do a dark glass one too because I actually have the same dark glass emulation preamp on the Zoom B6 as the Line 6 Pod Express. And I might even do the Fender amp because I believe it's the same Fender amp in there too. So I might just be covering almost all of them except for the Mesa Boogie amp. I already covered that in the other review, but I don't have another amp model to compare that to. So I'm definitely going to do one of the dark glass one and of the Fender one as well. So you could look forward to that. GK, Fender, and dark glass and coming up. And we already did the Ampeg SGT and Ampeg B15, and now we just finished up the Aguilar. So make sure you guys are subscribing, liking, and sharing, so you can not miss all this stuff, all these good comparisons. So you really got a good side-by-side comparison of some of the things that are definitely in that price range of $120 to $500, depending on how big of a unit you may need and how much stuff you may need. The Zoom B6 is a lot of stuff that you may not need. I use it for a lot of stuff. Even the looper with a SD card is super useful. But if you need something smaller, the Zoom B2 little unit works. Or, like I said, the MS-60B will definitely get you through. So, the AG preamp is I think that's about $300. It's not cheap, but it's not crazy expensive. It's not a Noble, you know what I'm saying? It's not $1,200, You can buy that one. You can get for the price of a Noble, that one preamp, you can have that AG preamp, the Aguilar SGT, and the Gensler Magellan preamp as well, or Eden WTDI. You can be mixing all these different preamps for the price of that one preamp. I'm not saying it's not worth it. I'm just saying for the equivalent price, you can have 4, 5 different sounds of preamps, you know what I'm saying, of analog preamps at that. So, that might do you more justice. I think it's a waiting list for them Novas or something too. I don't think you can just buy the joints either. If I ever get a chance to get my hands on one, I'm definitely gonna do a review of it because I do like the way they sound. They got a nice warm texture to them. Everybody that has them loves them. So I haven't met anybody that said, "Oh, I wasted my money on a Noble." What? All right. So that's all I got for you guys today. This is make sure you go and follow me on all social media at the Bass Nagas on all social media. Go find my music on allbasscreations.bandcamp, as well as subscribe, like, and share. Please subscribe, like, and share. It helps me out in the algorithm. And don't forget to tell a friend, a bass friend, be a good bass buddy. And make sure that they getting the information too. Don't try to leave them out and act like you just figuring this out on your own. Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that. Share the wealth. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely appreciate y'all hanging with me. This has been another episode of All Bass Creations Effects Tutorials, Demos, and Review. And I'm out. Peace.